Hey guys, Gabe L. Tape here, bigmancomics.com. I thought I'd show you a quick color job I did here. Someone over on Twitter, they posted this black and white drawing by, I think it's Louis LaRocca. He's a great illustrator. I've seen his work for years. He did a lot of work over at, I think, Valiant and different places like that. He really does some fun stuff with Copic markers, a lot of gray, black and white tones. And so they got me this Wolverine. They showed it to me and said, it'd be great if you colored this. So I thought I'd do it. I haven't colored anything in like over a month because the CAIN books came to me like in early March. And I've been packing and shipping them since then. Took a little break on packing and shipping and worked on a script. I worked on the script and packed and shipped at the same time. The script for what, you ask? The 120-page graphic novel. So far, it's 120 pages. I've sent it out to Illustrator and some other people to get their feedback on it. I love it. I think it's great. Earth Illuminated. It is Interstellar meets Star Wars. It's fantastic. It's got a lot of heart and love, thrills, action, and adventure. If you read CAIN All-American Lawman, you're going to love Earth Illuminated. It has similar themes of family and sacrifice and love, and the backdrop to that is an absolutely fantastic world of science fiction, and it does have that some of those themes that Star Wars has with rebels and a totalitarian government, and but it touches on some stuff that really will resonate with you. I think you're going to love it. It is unique. It has its own voice. It is distinctly its own story. But I did think of Interstellar and Star Wars after I had finished writing the plot and most of the script. I thought, you know what? That's what this reminds me of thematically in some ways. So again, this illustration here is Louis LaRocca, and then I'm doing the colors. This is obviously sped up. It's done in Adobe Photoshop on a Mac Studio. I have a new computer I've had for like 6 months or so. It's the best computer I've ever had. It wasn't cheap. I think on the website they're like $1,700. But by the time I got the hard drive I wanted and the processor and everything the way I wanted it, it was closer to $4,000. But, you know, when you do this for a living, you know, that's a write-off or whatever. So it's fine. I don't like how my green screen is freaking out with some of these little speckles here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is, you know, I've been coloring since I was a little kid, you know, obviously with crayons and markers and all that. And when I started coloring comic books, I was really good at it right away, which kind of defies what I think about life. I think anyone can do anything at any level. If one man can do it, any man can do it. I've had some people push back at me on that, and I said, well, you know, if you don't believe in yourself, you're right. You know, but any of you out there, you can do anything you want as long as you're willing to do the work. You can't just do anything because you want to. That said, I didn't understand why I was so good at coloring comic books when I just started. My career took off right away. You know, I did very few samples and got jobs coloring. And I was like, well, I don't think anyone is just good at anything without trying. I know there's a bit of talent for people that are artistic, but that's not what does it. It's the hard work. I always say it's like basketball. You can be born 7 feet tall. That doesn't put you in the NBA. How many 7-foot tall people are there on Earth? Most of them are not volleyball and basketball stars, right? Most of them aren't. So the difference is the opportunity to practice and then actually following through on the practice. Anyway, so why was I really, really good at coloring just right off the bat? And I realized the one thing that really did it and taught me color theory, starting like middle school age and then early into high school. I did it from like, I think like 6th grade to like 9th grade. I was super into Warhammer, Space Marines and Orcs and Eldar and all that stuff. It's these little, they're not toys. They're not toys. They are miniatures. And you paint them up like spacemen and aliens, and there's battleships and there's orcs and all kinds of stuff. And there's a medieval setting with trolls and dwarves and all that. But anyway, they're like little 1 or 2 inch figurines of like Space Marines, and you paint them by hand, you know, with acrylic paint, I believe it is. And I did so much of that for years as a hobby, and it taught me color theory. I would buy books about color theory from the publisher, you know, that made this. It was a tabletop game. It's like Dungeons and Dragons if you're using miniatures, not toys. They're not toys. And I'm tired of you saying they're toys. They're not. They're miniatures. But that's where I learned to color, because it was a mystery to me for most of my career why I was just good at coloring right out the gate. I couldn't figure it out. I really wondered about it, because again, I don't think anyone is just good at anything. You know, people say, "Oh, Beethoven wrote symphonies when he was 4 years old." That's apocryphal. That is literally not true. He did not do that. Did he have a talent for music? Sure. But he did learn, work, and study hard. He had the opportunity for it. That's an unfortunate thing for people that do succeed at high-level things, that people that don't sometimes, it's not that they were lazy or didn't try, it's that they didn't have the opportunity sometimes. They didn't have the right family structure or the finances or whatever. You can find a way, but geez, it's hard when you start off life behind the 8 ball. But anyway, yeah, I was painting the miniatures, not toys. is what really did it for me. And I really was a student of it. I would get in there. They had books about color theory and technique. And I think painting bodies and muscles and vehicles and guns and monsters in 3D really taught me how to render. You see these muscles and everything I'm rendering here on Wolverine. Now, Luis LaRocca's drawing is excellent. He did a lot of the heavy lifting and gave me the structure for the color here. So I don't have to worry too much. You know, that's one thing about colors people don't understand, that you can see a colorist color 5 different artists, and then the color is 5 different levels of quality. Like, he didn't try on artist number 4, but he really killed it on artist number 2. This is an ugly thing, and I'm going to say it in the nicest way possible. Coloring is a dependent position in comics. That means the colors can be as good as the drawing allows them to be. You can make a bad drawing a little bit better when you're a good colorist. I know I've done it with lesser illustrators. I'm not saying they're bad, they're just lesser than the greatest of the greatest I've worked on. But if the drawing is off, the structure, the composition, the anatomy, the foreshortening, the perspective, you're going to have to really do some things as a colorist to really try and work it out. But if the drawing just isn't there, then it's limiting what the color can do. So it all starts with the illustrator. So all credit in the world to Luis LaRocca for this fantastic illustration of Wolverine. He really killed it on this. When I saw this, I just saw the energy and I saw the textures and stuff, and I thought, ooh, I could really have some fun with that and really embellish it. So yeah, if you've ever wondered why a colorist you like looks one way, and then you're like, what the hell, he's really good, and then on this other thing, it looks kind of strange. It's the drawing, guys. The drawing will limit what you're able to do with the colors. Again, that's the base structure, is the drawing, right? So as far as how to do Photoshop, I would say Photoshop is the best program to color in. I think Procreate on the iPad is the best program to illustrate in. Clip Studio, a very close second. Photoshop is third to illustrate with. But I would say nobody can touch Photoshop when it comes to coloring. It's not even close. I've looked at Clip Studio. I've looked at Procreate. They don't have the correct selection tools. And the whole thing about coloring comics, it's all about the selections. The selections are the shape. It's masking. You know what I mean? When you're masking off areas so you can airbrush and texture and not color other areas. No one does it as easy and as thorough and as robust as Photoshop. It's just not even close. Procreate does things that annihilate Photoshop with rulers and perspective and all that. Clip Studio mimics real textures of paintbrushes and pens, probably better than anyone. Procreate comes in second. But if you're looking to color comics, get into Photoshop. Oh, they just raised rates. I got an email this morning. It's going from $55 a month to $60. So Bidenomics, everyone, it's working. So if you love what you see here, you're going to love the upcoming projects. I've got Earth Illuminated. I've got another book with my great friend Jericho Green. That is a fantastic book. More news. If you like the Goonies and things like that, Stranger Things, Kids Adventure, you're going to love what I'm doing with Jericho Green. It's not really announced yet. I mentioned it in one of our streams. But anyway, guys, go to BigManComics.com. There's still a few copies of Dean Cain All-American Lawman left. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right? Bye-bye.